Passage from Chapter 11, Catcher in the Rye. She was a funny girl, old Jane. I wouldn't exactly describe her as strictly beautiful. She knocked me out, though. She was sort of muckle-mouthed. I mean, when she was talking and she got excited about something, her mouth sort of went in about 50 directions, her lips and all. That killed me. And she never really closed it all the way, her mouth. It was always just a little bit open, especially when she got in her gulp stands, or when she was reading a book. She was always reading, and she read very good books. She read a lot of poetry and all. She was the only one outside my family that I ever showed Allie's baseball mill to, with all the poems writing in it. She'd never met Allie or anything, because that was her first summer in Maine. Before that, she went to Cape Cod, but I told her quite a lot about him. She was interested in that kind of stuff. My mother didn't like her too much. I mean, my mother always thought Jane and her mother were sort of snubbing her or something when they didn't say hello. My mother saw them in the village a lot, because Jane used to drive to the market with her mother in this LaSalle convertible they had. My mother didn't think Jane was pretty. Even I did, though. I just liked the way she looked, that's all. I remember this one afternoon. It was the only time old Jane and I ever got close to necking, even. It was a Saturday, and it was raining like a bastard out, and I was over at her house on the porch. They had this big screened-in porch. We were playing checkers. I used to kid her once in a while because she wouldn't take her kings out of the back row. But I didn't kid her much, though. You never wanted to kid Jane too much. I think I'd really like it best when you can kid the pants of a girl when the opportunity arises. But it's a funny thing. The girls I like the best are the ones I never feel much like kidding. Sometimes I think they'd like it if you're kidding them. In fact, I know they would. But it's hard to get started once you've known them a pretty long time and never kidded them. Anyway, I was telling you about the afternoon Jane and I came close to necking. It was raining like hell, and we were out on the porch, and all of a sudden this bazoo hound her mother was married to came out on the porch and asked Jane if there were any secrets in the house. I didn't know him too well or anything, but he looked like the kind of guy that wouldn't talk to you much unless he wanted something off you. He had a lousy personality. Anyway, old Jane wouldn't answer him when he asked her if she knew where any cigarettes. So the guy asked her again, but she still wouldn't answer him. She didn't even look up from the game. Finally, the guy went inside the house. When he did, I asked Jane what the hell was going on. She wouldn't even answer me then. She made out like she was concentrating on her next move in the game and all. Then, all of a sudden, this tear plopped down on the checkerboard, on one of the red squares. Boy, I can still see it. She just rumbled it into the board with her finger. I don't know why, but it bothered the hell out of me. So what I did was I went over and made her move over on the glider so that I could sit next to her. I practically sat in her lap. As a matter of fact, then she really started to cry. And the next thing I knew, I was kissing her all over, anywhere, her eyes, her nose, her forehead, her eyebrows and all, her ears, her whole face except her mouth. Anyway, it was the closest we ever got to necking. After a while, she got up and went in and put on this red and white sweater she had that knocked me out, and we went to a goddamn movie. I asked her on the way if Mr. Cadet, that was the bazoo hound named, had ever tried to get wise with her. She was pretty young, but she had this terrific figure, and wouldn't have put it past that Cuddy bastard, she said. She said no, though. I never did find out what the hell was the matter. Some girls, you practically never find out what's the matter.